Welcome friends. This is my list of upcoming city building and adjacent titles which would normally be slated for release sometime in 2022. But it seems that most city building developers have learned to not be overly optimistic with their deadlines, and as such, the large majority of titles on this list are either coming soon or have a TBA release date. That being said, let's start with the heaviest hitter. Frostpunk 2 was announced in August of 2021 via a really cool cinematic trailer in which we find out that human civilization has indeed survived the cold snap from the previous game, despite the Earth still being wrapped in ice. Humanity has not only survived, but it is following somewhat in the path of real-life development and moving from coal-powered, steam-focused technology to oil, with the player being in charge of a resource-hungry metropolis populated with a multi-layered society divided into various factions. Is it possible to see the game release sometime in 2022? Of course it's possible, but I don't think it's probable. What is more probable is that we'll get a demo or maybe early access this year. Arklands looks cute as hell. It's a city builder crossed with an RPG in which you play as a banished wizard having to start a settlement from scratch. Your main character will gain levels, there are magic artifacts to be found through map exploration, as well as threats. So you'll also have to recruit fighters as well as citizens to protect your settlement. The game also seems to have a bit of a roguelite flavor, with the Steam page saying that even if your city falls, rescue some followers and resources, get experience for how well you've done, and try again. While combat isn't a thing I like in city builders, this title has been developed as a hybrid from the ground up. I really dig the visuals, the music is not bad, so I'm highly interested in playing and streaming it, especially once it's out. Becastled is for those of you who are looking for a more combat focused experience and who like castle building and management. The first comparison that comes to mind is that it looks a little bit like Stronghold, but with Northgard visuals. It most likely does not possess Stronghold's diversity in terms of castle building options, but it does look like it might scratch the itch for resource management and castle warfare for those interested in it. Catizens is a colony management game in which you manage the lives of bipedal cats. Yes, this seems like a game specifically designed for the internet. It looks minimalistic, cute, and poised to maybe take over the streams and channels of several creators out there. Catizens is actually slated for release in 2022 and the demo is available as well. Sweet Transit is here to appeal to those of us who are train enthusiasts and who wanted a new Railroad Tycoon experience, but with some extra city building thrown in. Sweet Transit is focused around developing your railway network and everything else that is then required around it to sustain its growth, settlements, production buildings, and such. Leysara Summit Kingdom is yet another title which actually has a planned release date of 2022. Leysara is a city building game set on a mountain. It seems the aim is to build several independent settlements on various faces and areas of the mountain and have them support each other whilst dealing with many mountain specific hazards like avalanches, powerful weather, and who knows what else. It's an interesting approach both from a design perspective as well as from a visual one. City of Robots has you playing as an AI in charge of the development of a robot city as well as the overall direction of a robot society in terms of researching new technologies and its relation with surrounding human and other AI societies, with the apparent possibility of war breaking out. Nothing super new with this one with the exception of the AI premise, so maybe the devs have something particular planned for that. Ixion is a space colony survival and exploration game which will see us take over the workings of a corporate-run space station tasked with finding a new home for what is left of humanity. You'll have to deal with your station's hull integrity, resource discovery, gathering and processing, as well as most likely dealing with the condition of the humans on board. Gameplay footage is pretty light for this title, but it has a 2022 release date. Potion Tycoon, while not technically a city builder as the name implies, I consider tycoon games and city builders to be two sides of the same simulation management coin. That being said, tycoons aren't generally my thing, but Potion Tycoon has a couple of features that convinced me to put it on this list. First off is the subject matter. Making, researching and marketing potions sounds like a really fun idea. Second is the art style, which is really cool and reminiscent of a different title I enjoyed some years back. Third being that this is being made by the same people who made the title I enjoyed some years back, that title being Deep Sky Derelicts. And if you want to know more about that awesome game, there is a link in the description. Cybertown seems to be a more combat-focused experience, taking place in a futuristic cyberpunk world where planets are being colonized. The visuals look pretty cool, but there's no mention of a release date as of yet. However, the developers are planning a first playable demo to be released soon. King's Reign is described as a fantasy kingdom builder, and from the trailer we can tell it's going for a particular visual aesthetic, featuring a cel-shaded look and what looks like rotoscoped animations for the citizens. Which is a good thing to try and set it apart from similar games. And it also seems that it will be working at least in part on a bounty system when it comes to protecting your kingdom from fantasy threats. Complex Sky is a very interesting project aiming to have us build vertical, futuristic settlements in the sky. Your settlement's mass will come into play when it comes to it still actually staying afloat, and all the buildings seem to be both rotatable and stackable. The minimalist visuals appeal to me, and so does the obvious puzzle element that will come with this focus on verticality. Lakeside is a likewise particular offering, a 2D scrolling pixel art settlement builder set on the side of a lake. From the quick trailer it seems to feature some roguelite elements, but it is advertised as being aimed at creating a calm and relaxing experience. Scorchlands looks to be a different take on the terraforming focus of Terra Nil. In this game you colonize alien worlds and terraform them to fit the requirements of your bird folk civilization. Terraforming is also just one part of the game, the other part evolving around resource production and transportation. This game also seems to be aiming at the more chillaxy style of play. Jurassic Architect takes a different stab at dealing with the climate crisis, and instead of being set in some form of dystopian future, it is set in the Jurassic past, with time travel technology allowing human civilization to escape its man-made predicament to the dinosaur-populated past. Which to me doesn't sound like the best idea when it comes to civilization saving, but I think the devs just wanted to work with dinosaurs and so they went with time travel. Here you have to build what looks to be a sustainable powered settlement and have to deal with the dinosaurs in various ways. Viking City Builder might definitely not make it to any sort of release this year, seeing as how it is being made by just one person. However, I do want to spotlight it because despite its one-person crew, the pre-alpha footage looks really good. The story being that a Viking raiding party decides to settle the land after razing a village to the ground. There are plans to add in a certain amount of real-time combat as well, so this is a very long-haul project, but it is one worth wishlisting and keeping an eye on. Farthest Frontier is the only title on this list that has no footage out there of any sort. Despite this, it has a release date of 2022, and according to its Steam page, it'll have a pretty detailed farming system featuring soil nutrient depletion, heat and frost damage, as well as plant diseases. Likewise, there will be some old school diseases threatening your human population and a fair bit of environmental interaction, as well as the occasional raider attack. Without any sort of gameplay footage, we can only wait and see. And now let's look back at some of the titles from past year's lists and see where they are now development wise. Nebuchadnezzar was released in February of 2021 and I have covered it extensively. Since its initial release, new buildings and mechanics have been added to it, so I think it's time I give it another look soon. Sumerians went into early access in December of 2021, and while I have not played it, the Steam reviews seem to like it. Wandering Village has been worked on continuously, with the devs offering monthly updates. Nothing yet announced, but I think they'll definitely release into early access this year, considering the information gathered from these dev updates. Builders of Egypt released a new trailer on the 3rd of January this year, which is pretty heartening, making me think that we might actually get a release in 2022. Terra Nil's developers have been posting updates on their Twitter account. I played the demo on stream and super enjoyed it. While there's no official date yet, the game does seem like it could be released later this year. Pharaoh: A New Era has had a new trailer released on the 22nd of December of 2021, showing a direct comparison between the old graphics and the new ones. There is still no clear date, but we would hope it should be done by later this year. Dorfromantik was one of my favorite releases of last year, even if it was released only into early access. In the meanwhile, creative mode has been added as well as a bunch of new biomes. I covered it on my channel and streamed it several times. It has made it on my list of modern classics and something I always play when I'm feeling a bit ill. Flotsam has been making its way through early access updates, reaching version 050 on the 22nd of December of 2021. It might not make it to full release this year, but I am glad to see that it has mostly positive reviews on Steam. Foundation is still ostensibly in early access, but it has seen numerous updates and upgrades since I last looked at it. I don't know if they ever plan on taking it out of early access, but at this point in time it wouldn't really matter since the game is more than playable. Workers and Resources Soviet Republic is still doing the rounds through early access, having reached version 08519 at the end of December of 2021. It might just make it to full release this year. Kingdoms Reborn went into early access in November of 2020 and it has very positive reviews on Steam. Endzone: A World Apart was fully released in March of 2021 and has mostly positive reviews on Steam. Dynasty of the Sands has been pretty silent, although the devs said they're preparing a closed beta for Q1 of 2022, so most likely this one isn't coming out this year. Fata Deum is set to release into early access in Q2 of 2022. Dice Legacy was released in September of 2021 with mixed to positive reviews on Steam, but it seems the devs are constantly working on it and adding things, so it's one to keep in mind. Neolithic's solo developer is still working on it, but as you'd expect, progress is slow and fairly inconsistent. Ancient Cities went into early access on the 17th of December 2020 and has not fared well in terms of Steam reviews, these being from mixed to mostly negative. Before We Leave, on the other hand, was fully released on the 13th of May 2021 and has mostly to very positive reviews on Steam. I have played it during early access and it is indeed a fun and pretty chillaxy experience. This has been my list of upcoming titles to keep an eye on this year. What titles are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. Hey there watcher who's still watching, thank you very much for sticking around. If you enjoyed this video, then please do me a gigantic favor, feed the algorithm by liking and commenting on it. I also have a Patreon page, so it would be highly appreciated you check that out if you have coin to spend. I've been Steven Nonsense, thank you very much for watching, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you relatively soon.